If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sori says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at vinsori@gmail.com and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy merch.
Buy merch indeed, a child shall lead them.
So buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener, yes, dear listener, yes, dear listener. We are at the beginning of the darker side of heavy metal, I would say. This
DJ
is
Ben is
the
back.
big homie, DJ Ben. Bellacore, Valence, song number 1, dear listeners, song number 1. We're in the midst of the Melodeath stream, dear listener. Bellacore, Valence, song number 1, let's do it.
Faces, birds, image, heavy past, was like a dream.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like those simple little things they're sweet, man.
Yeah.
Like if you do a whole song of it, it gets old really quick. But if you're very like disciplined about where
Well, the
you
vocal
put
style
those
was-
3 notes in there.
The
Go ahead.
vocal
What were you
style
saying?
was just like that, like it was like heavy and it felt kind of dark and troubled and.
Well, yeah, I mean it's Melodeath for sure.
Oh, it's called Melodeath?
Yeah, that's the.
Oh.
Hence Melodeath Monday. Get those likes up, people.
Yeah. I guess I didn't process that was I've never heard of that genre before. Like I've never heard of us talk about Melodeath before.
Yeah, we've talked about it a lot.
Oh well, it's never stuck in
Anytime
my
we've
head
done
before.
Insomnium, we've brought up the term Melodeath. You weirdo.
Yeah, well the phrase never stuck in my head. Melodeath. I like that. Melodeath. I like that.
Yeah, it's melodic.
Yeah,
mellow,
the
and it's
melodies
death
in
metal.
there definitely brought like another level to it for sure. I really liked it,
I just love a well-placed,
and it was
like,
a good thinking song.
simple note at the end. Like,
Yeah,
and we lucked out with one of those.
I've heard us say
in
melodic death
ours.
metal, but I've not heard us say
We've got a
Melodeath.
section. We've got a section like that in one of those songs. It was
Yeah.
actually that part on the original song that you were having the difficulty with. We talked about it. We had the difficulty with it, and then we added that little 3-note thingamajiggy, and now it's an entirely different song.
It's like we'll be like, this is not working for me, and then you like revamp stuff. It's so cute.
A lot of stars know how to get superpowers. Maddie Matheson cooking with the Trailer Park Boys on YouTube. All right. I don't know who that is, but come and welcome.
Wait, Maddie Mac?
What did you think the song was about?
I didn't read the lyrics yet. I decided to just vibe with the song. I really liked it.
This is one of those songs I had a hard time.
It was sad though to me, so I'm wondering if there's anything sad in the
I had a hard time with the lyrics just because the guitar work was so good.
Yep.
And like all the transitions made sense, and I was just really feeling what they were doing on guitar. I was really feeling like what they were doing, like the decisions that they made. Sometimes when I hear this stuff, I want to like stop and be like, "Yo, why did you do that right there?" You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
I bet.
it's those parts like where I'm like, "Yo, like why did you think about that?" Especially like the last like third of the song with the like I said, it was only 3 notes, and he was playing them in sequence, really easy to play. But it's just there's certain moments where it's like perfect, like when you find that simplicity, and that's one of the things I'm trying to figure out. Like, symmetry is a big thing with us. We talk about that a lot, and it's like, okay, so if I have a lot of chunky shit that's really heavy, my instinct is to balance it out with a lot of clean, nice, pretty looking shit. So it's, but there's also the dichotomy of you can make a really complex segment in the guitar, right? You can make it super complex
simplicity.
and then have some simplicity in it because your mind has been like,
Yeah.
it's like you went on a dead sprint for like 30 seconds and then you get like a little nice power walk around the track.
Yeah.
And you feel better.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like that.
It's
when
like
I was
the
like
first-
hearing the
It's the first few seconds of planking after you've been doing the running. And
Yeah.
you're like, oh, this is nice. We're not running anymore.
Yeah, it
right
feels
before
good.
it starts to burn.
yeah, exactly. It feels good. So this seemed to be like one of those nature songs.
Was it sad? Is this the beginning of it right here?
Yeah.
Okay. Within the lake, he heard a hum and saw colors dance beyond the shoals.
Well, hold on.
What?
There's a what do you call it? The lyrics are right here because we missed like the first.
Oh, okay.
So the
As his hands threw the net, his mind drifted away. Fragments of voices, faces, words, yet each having passed was like a dream.
So this to me was like this guy was like a lobsterman because we're in Maine.
Okay.
So like lobstering is obviously a thing in Maine, and you can make a pretty decent living lobstering, but people also, it's also a very dangerous job.
Friggin' miserable job to do in the winter.
That that movie, The Perfect Storm, with what's his face, big famous guy, whatever. That was based on what happened to lobstermen in Maine.
Oh.
Yeah, that was a Maine situation.
Oh,
that
really?
happened. Yeah. So, like, that's a pretty dangerous job. So I was like, okay, like the song is starting out. This dude is probably like a lobsterman, or like that's what I have in my head. But obviously, he's just probably like a fisher or something.
Yeah.
So
Leaving echoes
as
that-
his hands threw the net, his mind drifted away, fragments of voices, faces, and words, yet each having passed was like a dream. Leaving echoes that brought others to light. I'm going to go on this one. Where he says, leaving echoes that brought others to life, a churning current carried him along, and barely noticing them arrive, the man pulled the fish out one by one.
So he caught up the fish.
In the mountain shade, his shins grew numb. As stung fingers drew the final net within the lake, he heard a hum and saw colors dance beyond the shoals. Its form seemed without boundary, its message without words. Yet it whispered of his glory and his endless joys to hold. So this dude is fishing, and then he runs into some being.
It sounds like, have you ever heard of guys talking about going fishing? Like, they don't care. The country songs always talked a lot about the guys going fishing. So, like, they wanted to get out of there. They don't care, like, if the girl doesn't want them to go, nothing. Like, they're going over there. Because when he was talking about, like, it whispered of a glory, endless joys to hold. Like, guys always make it sound like it's like this amazing thing when they get to go fishing.
Can you say lobster in a New England accent? Well, I don't have a New England accent at all because I wasn't born in this. Can you say lobster like how
I think they say lobster. I think it's lobster.
Lobster.
I think they put AH on the end instead of lobster.
Lobster.
Lobster. I'm not really a big fan of the accent.
He's talking to this thing. Well, he's doing his regular fishing thing. It's freezing cold. And then he runs into this entity type being. Its form seemed without boundary.
Its message without words.
It whispered of his glory and endless joys to hold. And then it says to him, if only you could reach me, the others would admire. If only you could grasp me, the struggle would expire. Without heed, without a doubt, he slogged into the lake's expanse, resisting. As he waded out, the water grew around him. Man, this guy can ride his ass off. The water grew around him. That's a brilliant way to talk about him going deeper and deeper into the lake. But all those steps would lead to nowhere. His motion masked futility. For all the effort he could bear, that thing would come no closer. His motion masked futility. For all the effort he could bear. Okay,
is he talking? Oh, he's talking about the net?
No, I think he's trying to approach the ghost or whatever the entity is.
Okay.
Because the entity is telling him, if only you can reach me, the others would admire. I'm assuming admire you. If only you could reach me, the others would admire. If only you could grasp me, the struggle would expire. So I'm assuming that's like fame, fortune, riches, basically. Right? Everybody would admire you if you got me.
This also goes with the fish analogy. So if you're a fisherman and you throw it out, like, there's all of this. It's formless yet. You haven't pulled the net in, so you don't know exactly how much fish that you have. You're struggling with it. Its form seemed without boundary. Its message, glory. Like, if it comes back full. Oh, well, I'm wondering if the fish analogy also fits in with.
I didn't know the fish was an analogy. I thought he was really a fisherman.
Well, yeah, but also that it fits in with the idea of, like, okay, this person, you're saying it's a person that comes to him that promises, like, that kind of like talks about fame and glory and stuff like that. And I'm saying, is it that, or is it the net that he threw into the water and the possibilities of whether or not it's going to come back full? It's almost like the lottery in a way.
Well, he says he heard a hum and saw colors dance beyond the shoals.
Yeah, I was wondering if that had anything to do with...
Then it says, its form seemed without boundary, its message without words.
Yeah.
So it was some colorful thing that he saw.
You could reach me, others would admire. Grasping, the struggle would expire. Okay. All right.
So it's some sort of thing that if he were to be able to get it, I don't know if it's a superfish or a goat, but it's a formless kind of mass type of thing. And if he can get it, he'll be famous and he'll be rich because he'll never have to worry. He'll never have to struggle again. Without heed, without a doubt, he slogged into the lake's expanse, resisting as he waded out. The water grew around him. So he's going after it. But all those steps would lead to nowhere. And so it's like the futility of having something like right in front of you and not being able to close, like not being able to execute. Its form seemed without boundary, its message without words, yet it whispered of his glory and the endless joys to hold. The zeal drained into regret. Had he been down this path before, each time it seemed he would forget that it would never resolve. So yeah, it's one of the, like, you're in this constant cycle of like feeling like it's right there and then having the dream dashed, understanding that it's futile what you're doing, but you're gonna try again anyway because that's just human nature. People can't accept shit. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what.
So giving up, he turned away, but once again, he would find that each and every move he made would simply bind him tighter. Holy shit!
So he can't get out of the. He can't get out of the burning desire to attain this thing.
Recursion and resolution, purpose to justify itself, boundless striving, fear and passion to end in nothing as it started. Jeez. So what happens in the end? Oh shit, that's the end of the
Perception collapsed around the shore where he could not believe. A fisherman, once lost in thought, was staring back and through him. And as the man came ever nearer, both entangled, one aware, he mouthed a warning none could hear and sank into the silt.
What was this warning?
Well, I think what that's talking about is that the being, whatever it was, turned into a fisherman as well.
Oh, I thought that it was the ghost of an old fisherman by the way that ended.
Well, it says, perception collapsed around the shore where he could not believe. A fisherman once lost in thought was staring back and through him.
Yeah.
And as the man came ever nearer, both entangled, one aware, he mouthed a warning none could hear and sank into the silt. So he's looking at this thing, and he's like, there's my dream, whatever it is. And then he can't attain to it, so he finally gives up. When he turns back around, the beautiful color, whatever thing, now turns into a solid person, and the person gives him a warning and then disappears back into nature. It's pretty much the long and the short of it. So it seems like it's its own standalone story of...
What do you think the warning is?
Well, the warning, I'm assuming, would be you're not going to find one thing that's going to automatically going to get you fame and fortune and all the rest of it. If you go after it like that, 9.9 times out of 10, you're more likely to be destroyed by that pursuit than finding ways to be happy and content with the station in life that you're currently in. And that's kind of like it's difficult because, especially for dudes now, because there's all this pressure to be an alpha male, an entrepreneur, whatever. You know, all the manosphere stuff where like dudes are starting YouTube channels and charging guys like $4,000 for a 5-day course on, you know, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And I look at that stuff and I'm like, yo.
You know what?
I could make an absolute freaking killing.
Honey, I'm not going to lie. That's literally the thought. When I was looking at that,
I wouldn't do it for the same reason. I'll probably never do like a YouTube tutorial or whatever. Because I don't believe that what's happening is something that you can just plug and play. Oh, if you do these principles that made me successful, then they'll make you successful. Like, there's a lot that goes into attaining those dreams than just grind and work hard. Like, there's a lot more that goes into it. And so, like, that's one of the reasons, like, there's a lot of luck or let me say it this way, like blessing. Red, there's a lot of luck or blessing in people who make it. You know what I'm saying? Like, when we started, we were just kind of lucky. We didn't have it planned out.
We were completely lucky. Think about it. If it was 15 years before, YouTube wouldn't have even been a thing.
Correct.
Like, literally when we started, and reaction channels were just kind of starting around that. I mean, kind of. There wasn't a bunch of them going. It was kind of new. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think that there's a lot of, you know, the sovereignty of God or luck or...
But yeah, that's a crazy, like, vision to have. And I don't know if, like, this is like a thing that he had, like an actual vision that he had that he's retelling in a different story. I feel like everybody has had at least one, my theory's about 3. Like really, I'm not going to say supernatural, but inexplicable circumstances or decisions in their life. And I think that, you know, most of us just go, just put it to the side and say that was a weird experience, but you know, don't really do anything with it. It just looks like to me that he had some kind of experience, and this song is some way trying to explain to the rest of us, like, what he saw. Or maybe the whole thing is just like a completely metaphorical sort of presentation about the futility of trying to be rich or trying to find that one silver bullet that solves all your problems. Recursion without resolution, things happening over and over again, but you're never able to resolve it, so you're just going around the same mountain all the time.
I wonder if it's
That's
him.
pretty frustrating. Go ahead.
I wonder if it's him because he says, as the man came ever near, both entangled, one aware.
Mm-hmm.
He mouthed a warning none could hear and sank into the silt. So I don't know if it's like, because also once he came out of it, he said that there was a man that was like staring off, which is what he was doing previously.
Right.
So I don't know if it's like his own, he's having a conversation or an interaction with his own consciousness maybe, and like maybe he's been doing the same thing over and over.
And maybe it says perception collapsed around the shore, where he could not believe a fisherman once lost in thought was staring back into him. So maybe he's just staring into the water.
Yeah,
he's on the shore.
Yeah,
he's staring into the water,
and then it disappeared into the. I don't know what silt is. Is that like the
water and dirt? Basically, it's basically like maybe he's like seeing his own reflection in the mirror.
Yeah,
and saying that to himself.
Yeah.
That's interesting. It says both were there, but one was aware.
Right. That's
both entangled. So they're entangled, but one is aware. Yeah, and that's a way to talk about the conscious and the subconscious mind, which is again another very interesting ball of wax. Like that to me was the craziest moment for a long time when I saw Jordan Peterson say that. I wish he would go back to that fascinating stuff, that version of himself instead of the. It's almost like, man, once you get it, damn. But he was talking about like how crazy it is, like the concept, and like now it's part of just society. We talk about subconscious, whatever. But like when it was initially brought forth, people would mock it. Like, really, you have two consciousnesses?
Oh.
There's one of you that kind of like hangs out and waits till you're asleep and says, now they're asleep. Now I'm going to get to say my piece. And people say things like, yeah, man, like you were suppressing that information or whatever. You were suppressing that memory and your mind. No, you're good. You were suppressing that memory and then your mind was like, okay, since you don't want to think about it right now, we're just going to hold off on this and wait till you're asleep and your guard is down, and then we're going to bring this up. And, like, people talk about this shit like it's normal. Like, wait a second. What? Mm-hmm. I got different people in me that are strategizing, that are learning me, like machine learning, AI.
The other part
it learns you, watches your sleep patterns, and then attacks when you're asleep. Like, that's crazy to me.
And that same, like, subconscious or whatever. Like, the reason that people get triggered is because they've pushed something way far out of their mind or they're not looking at it. And then all of a sudden they're brought back to the reality that thing exists.
100%.
So the fact that we have people that get triggered or triggering a thing is because of denial. But, like, I can't. Anyway, go ahead.
9.4.
This is a 9 point. This is a 9.6 for me. I really liked this one.
Very, very strong opening song, man. Mm-hmm. Very strong opening song. Shout out to this band. And we've got a couple more songs from this band as well. I think we're doing Insomnia and Bellicor. And that's it for tonight. So there you are.
We have Arch Enemy.
We also have Arch Enemy on the way. So we got some shit there, listener. We're going to see you guys on the other side of the break.
Shout out to Vin. Sori out.
Out.